Week 3 of the Washington Commanders OTA practices are officially underway. And with that being said, we have more news, notes, highlights, observations from yet another practice. And in this video, we're going to break down everything you need to know about what happened. Now, before we jump into the video, I do want to give a big shout out to all of the Commanders media members out there who, work so hard to get these highlights out for us. That way we are able to make this video. Without them, these videos aren't really possible. So do me a favor, go follow all those people on Twitter. You'll see all their ats at the top left of your screen throughout the entirety of this video. And with that being said, let's kind of jump into the video and talk about, the last few days, last few weeks of practice here for the Washington Commanders. Now, all eyes are on Jayden Daniels. Obviously, they think he is going to be a superstar. And if you compare, OTAs to some of the rookie quarterbacks around the league, it looks like Jayden Daniels has so much hype built around him just because how accurate, how talented he has been from the jump. Now, we're going to go more in depth in Jayden Daniels a little bit further into the video, but I do want to point out one of the biggest factors so far for the Commanders OTAs, and that is no other than the defense, right? The creativity defensively with new defensive coordinator Joe Whitt Jr., also, Dan Quinn as well. These two guys are geniuses when it comes to defensive strategy. And I feel like Joe Whitt Jr. has, not messed around at all. He is trying to get these guys ready to go and try to turn this into one of the best defenses in football from the jump. And, the one thing that stands out to me when you look at this roster is there's upgrades up and down the roster. I mean, Dorrance Armstrong, you got Dante Fowler, Frankie Luvu, Bobby Wagner, Jeremy Chin, Michael Davis, Mike Samerstill, and then you have guys from last year, Emmanuel Forbes. So I think there are, so many positives to look at when you deep dive into this Commanders team. And I think Joe Whitt Jr. and Dan Quinn are going to put these guys in prime position. And so far, still good here, for what they're trying to accomplish here. Now, listen, I think there's an open competition in a bunch of different guys. They're like 17, 18 guys deep that could potentially be starters, which I think is massive for what they're trying to build here in Washington as well. So that was probably one of the biggest things to take away in the system that Whitt and Dan Quinn are trying to implement here. It's going to keep up, offenses, offensive coordinators awake at night trying to figure out how to get, through their defense, through their linebacker core, through their secondary. And I really do think we're going to see a major jump up from the Washington Commanders defense at the very least. There is some new news as well in terms of Brandon McManus being cut from the team, had some legal issues, and now we got a new kicker in here, Ramiz Ahmed. He is trying to, kind of win this job going forward. And again, we'll see how things develop as we, get a little bit more into training camp and preseason and whatnot. If he can actually hit big kicks with, defenses running at him, that's one thing that I'm, really interested to see. Now, another guy who's been massive for this team that maybe not a lot of people are talking about is Frankie Luvu. Now, before we deep dive into Frankie Luvu, I want you guys to do me a favor and comment down below a player that has maybe just joined the team, a rookie, or someone they just signed or traded for. Who do you think is going to have the biggest impact out of the newcomers here in Washington? Let me know it really quickly, because in my eyes, I think Frankie Luvu is a dark horse to be one of the most impactful players from the jump for this football team. I mean, you look at what he's been doing in practice so far. He is dynamic. He is very intriguing. And I think, a guy like Dan Quinn is so excited to use his versatility, the energy, the athleticism, the enthusiasm, the willingness to go, do the little things for your football team. And that is exactly what Frankie Luvu brings. The Commanders are already, really confident in what he can do. And, he's actually helping some other guys as well, like Jamin Davis, as a teammate. He's got a lot of juice. I think Frankie Luvu is so underrated, and I think he's going to be massive for this team going into next year. Actually, Joe Whitt Jr. commented on him saying, listen, what's not to like about him? He is the heartbeat of what competitive, hard-nosed defensive football is about, and that's a guy I love right beside, a guy like Bobby Wagner. So, listen, to say that Frankie Luvu has made a decent start here would be an understatement. He's been amazing. Now, before we get any further into the video, make sure you guys do me a big favor. Hit the like button just so we can get this video out to more Commanders fans around the world. But more importantly, subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. And we will be covering the Commanders throughout the entirety of the offseason. Now, you may be asking, what does that include exactly? The rest of OTAs, mandatory minicamp, training camp, preseason, regular season, everything you could think of, we've got you guys covered. Plus, when the season does kick off, we're going to be breaking down some all 22 coaches film throughout the entirety of the season, making sure you guys are kept up to date with everything that's going on. So obviously, you guys need to join the family. And with that being said, let's kind of deep dive or get back into the video a little bit. Now, again, I know a lot of you guys want to hear about the growth of Jayden Daniels, and that has been one thing that has stood out from day one, right? From day one of rookie minicamp to now, Jayden Daniels is getting better and better and better. The work ethic should be something that we knew was coming, right? He was going to be someone that was going to come in here, whether he won the Heisman, whether he was a first round, second, third round pick, whatever he would have been drafted. He was going to come in here and do one thing, and that was improve, get better each and every single day. The work ethic is translating onto the field. It's translating into the film room. I mean, dude, this dude is one of a kind, and I think they probably got the steal of the draft. Now, listen, again, I know it's just OTAs. I know there's no pads, there's no contact, but when you look at just all three phases of the game, Jayden Daniels looks like an absolute dog. And the Commanders last year had one of the worst passing attempts or passing attacks in football, right? Even in 2-minute drills, they were terrible. And I really do think Jayden Daniels is going to be able to come in here and kind of turn that around completely. Now, we also are starting to see guys start to work together really well. Tyler B, he's a guy that is, working very hard, building chemistry, building rapport with some of the teammates around him. I know it wasn't a big offseason move, but this is a guy who's a former 4th-round pick and probably was one of the best on the market this year at the offensive line position, coming over from the Cowboys with Dan Quinn. He was a Pro Bowler back in 2022, has 53 starts, 61 appearances. And, for a guy like Jayden Daniels, this is someone who can help him so much as grow as a quarterback. So definitely love that type of energy by Tyler B and what he is trying to do, what he is, standing after practice, working with Daniels and trying to help him improve as a player overall. So that's a big thing about them as well. So, this team, there's just a new aura. There's a new dynamic. I don't know what it is, but it's probably the fact that they have, 25 new players, 12, 15, I don't know how many, but they have so many new starters on this football team, a new coaching staff that the players will run through a wall for. Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr., who are coming from the Dallas Cowboys, who have forced the most turnovers the past 2 seasons. And, I think guys like Mike Sainristil and Emmanuel Forbes are 2 guys specifically that could take major jumps up this year. Just in terms of forcing turnovers and, being in the right spot at the right time. So I'm extremely excited to see this team continue to develop. And I'm really just, intrigued by what's to come here for the Commanders. So do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family. We will be covering the Commanders throughout the rest of the offseason. And also Jeremy Chin, it looks like he could be very dynamic as well. He's playing a lot of safety, but also coming up into the box. So that's going to be fun to continue to look at. I believe Johnny Newen is not practicing, but he's on stationary bike. He's getting some cardio in, so that's good to see. You'll probably see a little bit of that in the video. What else? Eckler and Brian Robinson both look pretty good here. I think they're both going to bring their, different type of unique type of style to this offense. So that'll be fun to see. So join the family. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you guys in the next Commanders update. Peace.